What's going on, guys? Billy here, and over the past couple of months, I've spent a lot of time reviewing and testing DJI's flagship enterprise drones, the Mavic 2 Enterprise Advanced and the M300. In fact, I actually just uploaded a video last week comparing these two drones, as they really are built for those with different use cases in mind. Of course, the M300 is a bigger and more capable drone, but the Mavic 2 Enterprise Advanced is a perfect size for those using drones in the search and rescue, inspection, fire safety, and law enforcement industries. With the release of DJI's new Matrice 30, though, this is the perfect drone for those that need a more powerful platform, like something that the M300 delivers, but in a smaller, more portable, and easy to set up form factor. I'd actually venture to say that this drone, the M30, is going to be the new go-to option in the commercial drone industry, as it really gives you a great ratio of like price to performance to size. It really does hit all of the marks. Now, before we go any further, I've just got to mention that I don't actually own an M30 yet. I don't have one here to test and show you footage from or show you footage of. So just know that in the coming weeks, I am going to be getting my hands on an M30. I'll be having some great tutorial videos as well as some great videos just showing what the drone is capable of. But for today's video, what I want to do is just go over a baseline of like what to expect from this drone and give you some of my thoughts after having spent a lot of time with DJI's other flagship drones, again, the Mavic 2 Enterprise Advanced and the M300. Now, you guys know me, I like to stay organized, so I've broken this video down into 6 different sections so that we can touch on each of them individually. So if you want to jump around in the video, you are more than welcome to, but I'd recommend sticking around for the whole video so you can get a full understanding of what this drone is about. So starting things off here, the only way that I can describe the design of the M30 is it kind of looks like a smushed down M300. You look at the body of this new M30 and it has a lot of the same design cues as that M300, but without the massive landing gear underneath. If you remember from my setup video of the M300, these carbon fiber legs needed to be attached before every flight when you take it out of the case, but don't think that this was for nothing. The M300 is a bigger drone that can carry bigger payloads. In fact, it can carry 2 cameras underneath. This is why it needs the landing gear so that it can hold these larger gimbals. This is different from the front-mounted camera on the M30, which is a design that clearly resembles the Mavic airframe. We'll touch more on this when we get to our section on the camera. Just looking at a picture of this drone, I've quite frankly never seen a more Frankenstein-looking drone. It almost looks like the M300 and the Mavic 2 Enterprise Advanced came together and had a baby. If you look at their website photos side by side, the resemblance is instantly noticeable, as it looks like the M300 grew folding arms. This is great because it means that a lot of what made the M300 special is still available here in the M30. I'm specifically referring to the front-facing FPV camera, the 24 sensors all the way around the drone with 4 on each side, and 2 light beacons with 1 on top and 1 on the bottom. It even has a dual battery system for hot swapping between flights and further redundancy. When you look at a smaller platform like DJI's Mavic 2 Enterprise Advanced, sure, it's great that it's portable, but its size means that there's not a lot to fit on the body. I mean, quite frankly, with this drone, most of it is the battery. That's why I think that the M30 is such a great option slotted in the middle, because it's still rather large to accommodate better technology, but the folding arms make it a lot easier to set up and bring with you, so the portability is a lot better. Now, one of my absolute favorite things about DJI's M300 is its high level of safety and redundancy. In fact, I made an in-depth walkthrough of the aircraft and titled it that it's the safest aircraft that you can fly, which is completely true. In that video, I highlighted a PDF published by DJI that covered the different redundant features that, for the sake of this video, I'll break down into this bullet point list. Luckily, a similar document was published for the M30, so on the left side is our list for the redundant features of the M300, while the M30's list is on the right side. For the most part, the list is fairly similar, which is great to hear. This means that even though this is a completely different aircraft that is sold for less money, DJI did not skimp on safety features. We still have complete flight controller redundancy through the IMU, barometers, antennas, and compasses. There's also 2 batteries, a full suite of sensors, dual remote controller operation, and the ability to land the drone even when you lose a motor or propeller, so both the M300 and M30 can land with only 3 functioning motors, which is really impressive. The only differences here is that the M30 doesn't have a full suite of auxiliary LEDs like the M300 has. The pulse width modulation redundant feature wasn't listed in the M30's document. The water resistance rating is slightly different amongst the 2 drones, and in favor of the M30, this drone has a 4G 4G module built in, which further adds to the redundancy of the transmission between the remote and drone, although I should note that this 4G connection currently is not available in North America due to the FAA's line of sight guidelines. So just like the M300, the M30 is one of the absolute safest drones that you can fly. It has a bunch of those great redundant features built in that act as a failsafe for almost anything that could potentially go wrong with the drone mid-flight, thus mitigating damage done to your drone in the event of an incident or anything on the ground if the drone, God forbid, came tumbling down from the sky. Again, there's a lot of these failsafes built in that ensure that is never going to happen. And I can't wait to touch more on that in depth once I get the M30 here in person. Now, just like every other DJI drone, the performance of the M30 is top notch. These are the specs that you're used to seeing from any modern DJI drone on both the enterprise and consumer side. The differences between the speed, flight time, wind resistance rating, and transmission system is so negligible between drones like the Mavic 3, the M300, the M30, and even the older Mavic 2 Enterprise Advanced that this typically isn't the first list that you'd look at to determine which drone is right for you. That's what I think is really cool about purchasing a drone from DJI. All of the drones that make up their lineup have a great level of performance, so that almost doesn't even become the deciding factor when figuring out which drone you want to purchase. You know that all of them are going to fly fast, have a great transmission system, and have great flight control, so the responsiveness of the remote controller is going to feel great. So from there, you make your decision on the technology that a specific drone has, maybe the available features a specific drone has, or even the camera that you're able to use with that drone. Now, speaking of that camera, this payload system is mounted to the drone just like a Mavic, so it's not a removable payload like on the larger M300. With that said, there are two different versions that you can buy of the Matrice 30, and they are the M30 and the M30T. The only difference between these two drones is that camera, and the only difference on the camera system is that the M30T comes with a thermal sensor, hence why it's called the M30T. Now, this camera is very similar to the H20 and H20T camera systems available for the M300, although some corners were cut to make this payload smaller to fit on a smaller drone. We still have a wide camera, a high power zoom, a thermal sensor, and a laser rangefinder. This suite of sensors is going to give you the ability to capture great photos and videos no matter what you purchase this drone to do. Fight fires, conduct inspections, law enforcement, search and rescue, anything that you have to accomplish, this camera is going to be perfect. It also has a new feature called Smart Low Light Photo that looks really powerful, so overall, I'm looking forward to getting it out here and flying it to check it out further, and also do some comparisons between the Mavic 2 Enterprise Advanced, the M300's H20T camera, and of course, the camera on the M30T. Now let's touch on that remote controller that was designed specifically for the M30 because it is a big deal to me. It's really cool to look at the evolution of DJI's remote controllers over the years. We first started out with this kind of big, blocky Phantom 4 remote controller that had the top-mounted tablet mount, so you could put your tablet and phone up here. The battery life in this remote was great. You never had to charge it. Then we had the Mavic remote controller with the built-in screen. You put your phone underneath. This was a lot easier to travel with. Of course, this is a lot smaller than the Phantom remote controller. Then we've got sort of like a second generation Mavic remote. This is the RCN1, I believe it's called, and this kind of replaced this remote controller style. This comes shipped with every drone from the Mavic Air 2 to the Air 2S to the Mini 2 to the Mavic 3, so this is like their new standard remote controller. Then we've also got smart controllers. So this is the first gen smart controller with the built-in 1000 nit screen. We've also got an enterprise version of this smart controller, which comes with like a bottom bracket and an external battery, so it's a little bit upgraded in that sense. And also we have the newer version of the smart controller, also called the RC Pro. This is hands down my favorite remote. I love the feel of it. It's really easy to fly with. The stick is great, or the stick response is great. But now with the M30, we have this brand new remote controller called the RC Plus. This was actually leaked before the actual drone itself and had everyone wondering when we would see it. I had a hunch when I first saw this remote controller that it was going to be made for some sort of enterprise drone down the line. I mean, it just had that enterprise look with all the custom buttons, the big massive screen in the middle. Quite honestly, it looked like a smart controller or RC Pro on steroids, and I really wish I could purchase just the remote controller to use with my Mavic 3, but apparently DJI has no intention of making that remote compatible with consumer level drones like the Mavic 3 or Mavic 3 Cine. Now, taking a peek at DJI's site shows us some really great images and specs that this remote will offer, like the custom buttons, IP54 water resistance, 4 O3 antennas, and a removable battery. It even has the ability to add a 4G connection for transmitting data, downloading maps, and submitting flight safety information when on the go. You know, if you've been watching my videos for a while, that I am a huge stickler for a good remote controller. I mean, if you've got a great drone, but just an okay remote controller, then in my opinion, you've just got an okay drone, because the remote is what you interact with every single time you fly for the entire flight. And if you've got a bad remote, then you probably have a generally bad flight experience, which then leads to bad photos and bad videos. So it's just kind of a trickle down effect. So if the remote is good, then the drone is good. At least that's the case most of the times. And DJI has always outdone themselves with their remotes. It's like they continue to one up themselves when I think like, hey, this new remote is the best one that I've flown with. It gives me the best control over my drone. They come out with an upgraded version, and they did just that with the RC Plus. So even though I can't fully comment on it yet because I haven't flown with it and I haven't held it in my hands, I can only imagine it's going to be a great general flight experience. Now, alongside this new remote controller, we've also got a new version of the Pilot application. This is DJI Pilot 2, and I think that it adds a lot of really great features as seen in some of the videos that DJI has published, but I also think that overall it's a general aesthetic upgrade. So way back when the Phantom was around and the original Mavic Pro was around, we had an app called the DJI Go application, right? And then for their enterprise side of drones, they had the DJI Pilot application that was built off of the Go application. So aesthetically, they looked the same, feature-wise, they looked the same, but ever since the consumer drones moved on to the DJI Fly application, the Pilot app has kind of become long in the tooth. So now that we have this new Pilot 2 application that kind of puts the Fly app and Pilot app on the same playing field, is really going to be great. So if you bounce back and forth, you're going to be familiar with the interface, and I really can't wait to get my hands on the remote controller and that new app to kind of test out the combo. Now, the final thing that I want to discuss is the DJI dock, which in theory is really cool. It's basically a capsule that protects and charges the M30 aircraft. Through DJI's Flighthub 2 cloud management software, you can control the M30, you can monitor it through cameras, it has spotlights for nighttime operation, it even has a little weather station on it. They really thought of everything. With this dock and cloud management solution, Flighthub 2, the future is definitely autonomy. I understand what DJI is working towards. I mean, imagine on a construction site, having a drone in a dock, being able to spit that drone out, have it take photos during the day, have it land, recharge, and repeat that on a daily basis with no pilot involved. It sounds great. It sounds like a dream. It sounds like it's too good to be true. And quite frankly, right now it is too good to be true because pretty much everything about that breaks the FAA's rules, restrictions, and guidelines surrounding drones. So right now, is the DJI dock feasible in North America? No, pretty much not at all. It could make setup times easier if you plan on showing up to site and kind of doing everything yourself. But regardless, I understand what DJI is working towards, and I think that it's really cool. Overall, even though I think that it can't be used right now, I think that it was only a matter of time before DJI created a solution like this. And I'm never one to stifle innovation by saying it's unnecessary, but just to reiterate, right now, I don't see it being a viable solution here in the States due to regulations, but I'm hoping that these will loosen up, though, to allow drones to reach their full potential. So you might be wondering, with the release of the M30, is the Mavic 2 Enterprise Advanced dead? Is the M300 and all of those cameras now irrelevant? The short answer is no, but the long answer is that each of the different drones that DJI has that make up their enterprise lineup serve a different purpose. For example, the Mavic 2 Enterprise Advanced is a great solution for someone that needs an uber portable enterprise class drone that comes equipped with features that consumer drones just don't offer. The M300, on the other hand, is the most powerful drone system that DJI sells with the best specs, more payload availability, and is for those that don't mind lugging along extra equipment. The M30 here, though, offers the best of both worlds. It's incredibly capable, very powerful, and it still is very portable and easy to set up. It also comes with a price tag of $10,000 for the M30 or $14,000 for the M30T, which is a great value for what you're getting. Now, you might think that I sound crazy for saying $10,000 to $14,000 is a good value for a drone, but once you understand what this drone can deliver in terms of its portability, the technology on board, the camera, the performance, all the flight software, you then realize that the drone is a good value at what it's priced at. It fits perfectly in DJI's lineup between the Mavic 2 Enterprise Advanced and the M300. And consider this, the H20T camera that is very similar to the camera that ships on the M30T is $12,000. So just the camera on the M300 alone is 12 grand, when the full entire drone with the camera, the M30T, costs 14 grand. So look, these are very expensive prices, but these are the drones that are pushing the bleeding edge of tech and that are used for everyday commercial work, from inspections to law enforcement to search and rescue to fire rescue. So there is a lot of really great tech built inside of these drones, hence why they are priced the way that they are. Anyway, let me know your thoughts on the M30T and M30 down below. I'll be making some videos moving forward about this drone once I finally get my hands on it. So if you're in the market or you just want to learn more about the drone and see it in action, be sure to subscribe down below. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.